In a previous video, I was working on getting my outfeed table nice and flat and level, but I wanted to find out how flat and level, so I got some new tools. So this is a new tool day video. Those tools are some straight edges from Taylor Tools. This is not sponsored, this is not affiliated. I bought these with my own money. I got their 12-inch, their 24-inch, and their 50-inch reference level straight edge. These are supposed to be very accurate. I believe this 50-inch is accurate to within 3/1000ths of an inch across its length. The 24-inch is accurate to within 2/1000ths of an inch across its length. And this little 12-inch reference is accurate to within 5/10thou across its length. That's pretty darn flat. So I'm going to get some feeler gauges and I'm going to see how flat my outfeed table actually is. So right along here is where I had a belly, and it dips down, which has made this challenging to get it level between my two table saws so that as things slide across, they don't get hung up, making the transition from either saw. I certainly made it a lot better in the last video, but I'm curious how good it really is. So I've got this 50-inch, which is supposed to be accurate to within 3/1000ths of an inch. I've got a flashlight, and I've got a 0.003-inch feeler gauge. So we're going to see if we can see some daylight and how bad this really is. So if I turn on my light and shine it along here, we're going to see if any light peeks out underneath on the camera. And if I take my feeler gauge, well, I can slide that right under there. It is hanging up just a little bit. So we know that this is a little bit more than a 3/1000 gap. So let's get a slightly thicker feeler gauge here, a 10/1000. That's pretty thick. See what kind of a gap we've got there. So I can't get this 10/1000 gauge underneath here. So you can see that here and I'll show it from the front end. So I'm getting hung up on that, which is good because in the world of woodworking, 10/1000 is pretty darn accurate. So let's try something a little thinner. Let's try a 5/1000. And I'm just able to get it under, and I can get it under right here. So we definitely still have some bow, and it looks like this area is my real problem spot. Yep, that is a 5/1000 shim. I can just slide that under. So I've got a slight belly right here. So that's sort of the purpose of these straight edges, to be able to find and identify how flat your reference surfaces are. So I'm excited to take these around the shop, check all of my other surfaces, like my cast iron, like my assembly table, and see how flat really is. While I got everything out and set up, I thought I'd check a few other surfaces. So this is the 24-inch straight edge. It's supposed to be flat to within 2/1000 across its length. So I have it laying on the outfeed side of my planer bed, or my joiner bed. So just checking it, and I can just slide it under here, and then I get hung up maybe 5-6 inches in. So I have a little bit of a dip on this side. That's interesting. But then all along here, I'm tight, so I'm not able to slide this shim under. But I would have never seen that there was just a little bit of a dip here. Probably not enough to get bent out of shape over. So if we get a little bit bigger of a feeler out, a 4/1000. See if we got hung up. So this one is 4/1000. So 4/1000 just makes it under. It's catching and rubbing. So I've got, maybe a 4-5/1000 dip right here. Not terrible, not great. Would have never known that. Try the other side of the bed. We're on the infeed side now, which is a little less precise. You want your outfeed to be nice and level. So if I check this, I have no dips that are 4/1000. Let's try my smallest one, my 15/10thou. Yeah, and I've got nothing. So this side seems to be, just a little, it's just sliding under right here, right there. So I've got maybe a 15/10thou, maybe 2/1000. Let's try the 2/1000. There we go. So this is 2/1000. So the 2/1000 is just poking under the edge, but not really sliding. So somewhere between 2/1000 and 15/10thou on my infeed side. And then I've got that 4 thou, maybe 45 10 thou on that side. Again, this is not the highest end joiner planer, so that's probably within a tolerance that I can live with. We're going to use the 12-inch to take a look at the table on the bandsaw, and this is actually going across the split here, so I wouldn't expect this to be perfect. The 12-inch is supposed to be flat to within 5 10 thou, so very flat. And if I take my 2 thou shim, I can just slide the 2 thou under right here in the middle where the split is, so that's not surprising. And if I take a 4 thou shim, I can't get that under. So I'm flat here to within 4 thou across that split in this cast iron top. That's pretty impressive. One thing I want to point out, and this was a miss by the Taylor Tool team, so these straight edges come in these nice cardboard tubes, for shipping I'm assuming. One for every size. I've got the 12-inch, I've got the 50-inch, I've got the 24-inch over there. The 12 and the 24-inch were actually shipped in their tube. The 50-inch, for reasons that I can't quite understand, was not shipped in its tube. I got the tube, but the straight edge was just shipped in the box. Now, it has rubber bumpers on each end, and the box didn't look like it had suffered any damage. I'm still not sure why it was shipped to me that way, and if there's one thing I could recommend that Taylor Tools do is check to make sure that they're going in their tubes. That would certainly go a long way to make sure that it's not getting dented or dinged or damaged. I don't have anything precise enough to make sure that that is still level to within the references that they mention. And again, I'm a woodworker and a hobbyist at that. It really doesn't matter. But it is one thing that I noticed and wanted to point out. Anyway, that's a super quick look at these reference straight edges. They're going to be plenty flat for what I need them for, and I'm pretty happy with the price. I think all in for all three, it was under $70, so they weren't very expensive. Now, I did catch them at a time when Taylor Tools was having a sale, but even without the sale price, I don't think it would have been over $100 for all three. And I probably could get by with just the 24, but I'm one of those crazy people that if one is good, three are better. So I hope you've enjoyed this short little video looking at these straight edges. If you like the kind of videos I make around here, I'd appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed it.